Вітаю! Наш брифінг присвячений викриттю фейків та пропагандистських вкидів держави-агресора.
Greetings. Our briefing is dedicated to exposing fakes and propaganda by the aggressor state. Russia's tradition of attributing non-existent merits to itself and boasting of missing military results can be seen even now that the Ukrainian military has driven the Russians out of Snake Island. After Ukraine announced the achievement of this military result, the Russian Defense Ministry stated that it had allegedly left Snake Island in goodwill. That's how they commented on it. I quote Konashenko, a spokesman for the Russian Defense Ministry. Today, as a step of goodwill, the Russian Ministry of Defense completed tasks on Snake Island and withdrew the garrison stationed there. Thus, it has been demonstrated to the world community that Russia does not interfere with the efforts of the UN to organize a humanitarian corridor for the export of agricultural products from the territory of Ukraine. This statement from the first to the last letter is a fake, as Russia has blocked the export of the crop for more than 4 months, and the statement about the alleged voluntary withdrawal became possible only after the Ukrainian artillery inflicted irreparable losses on the Russian military on Snake Island. Thus, it is not the first time that they justify their military failures, in particular when they were expelled from the Kyiv region, and also justified this with their voluntary step. Another fake concerns the cruise missile attack on a shopping center in Kremenchuk, which killed 2,000 civilians in Ukraine. Russia justified its actions by saying that they strike only at military targets. However, surveillance cameras prove that it was a blow to a civilian object, as a result of which civilian Ukrainian citizens died. In other words, the fake fell apart after the video evidence was presented to the world community, and the international human rights organization Human Rights Watch is calling for an investigation into the crime. In particular, Human Rights Watch spokeswoman Yulia Horbunova said that the explosion in the shopping center in Kremenchuk should be investigated as a potential war crime committed at a civilian facility. And of course, this evidence completely negates the statement of Russian leader Putin there was no terrorist attack. Putin commented on the provocation in Kremenchuk on the air of the Russia 24 TV channel. Prior to that, Russian anonymous propaganda sources even spread the fact that Ukrainians allegedly scattered deconsarved bodies of Ukrainian civilians on the territory of the destroyed shopping center in order to allegedly accuse Russia of provocation. Think of the cynicism in this lie. And the representative of the Ministry of Defense of Russia, Konashenko, declared that the shopping center didn't work. This fake is also refuted. According to the head of the Tax Committee of the Supreme Council, Danilo Hetmantsev, at the time of the challenge, according to the State Tax Service, 58 cash registers were operating in the shopping center. The daily revenue was almost 3 million hryvnias in one day. That didn't prevent the high representatives of Russia from continuing to explain this as if it were a fake in the style, as they themselves say, Bucha provocations. The representatives of Russia to the United Nations told, "We have to wait what our Ministry of Defense will say, but there are too many stickers that are conspicuous. This is a provocation in a style of Bucha." Thus, in such attempt to justify war crimes, Russia stops at nothing and even accuses Ukraine of killing Ukrainian citizens at the time when there is the evidence pointing to Russia's involvement in these crimes. Another fake from the Russian propaganda resources for several days is a statement about the alleged intention to create an airport for NATO forces on the territory of Severodonetsk. This time, the Russian state source RIA Novosti quotes one of the Chechen military who said this fake. His statement sounds synchronous with the statement of the representatives of the so-called LPR Kisilov. I quote, "Ukrainian authorities planned to place a NATO base in Severodonetsk, which was equipped with long-range artillery, aircraft and MLRS. This lie is made for the only purpose of justifying the actions of Russia in relation to Severodonetsk, in which there are predominantly Russian-speaking citizens of Ukraine. Russia has previously said that they are going to war to protect the Russian-speaking population, and ended up destroying the homes of these Russian-speaking citizens of Ukraine, turning the city into ruins. They announced the destruction of such a quantity of military equipment that had never been in service in Ukraine, and also stated that they, as they say, fired but in fact occupied some cities several times. So the Russian publication Project considered that more than 30 settlements that agree with Russian reports were occupied twice during this war. I traditionally call not to trust Russian liars and propagandists. Trust the Ukrainian media, the Ukrainian political leadership and the armed forces of Ukraine. Glory to Ukraine!